slightly biased, but I got the feeling.
I'm so biased.
That's okay. That's okay.
My name is Aaron, and I guess my favorite app would be the camera app.
Okay, excellent. Fellow photographer of the audience here, very good.
My name is Hannah.
Hi, Hannah.
My favorite app has to be Swift.
I'm not going to
Okay,
judge.
all right.
I like the Notes app a lot too.
Okay, is that something that you use often then?
Yes, I use Apple Pencil on different devices.
Excellent. I like that. I like that.
Stuff you draw as well.
Great.
My name is Melody, and I like the GarageBand app. It's really cool to play music and stuff, and I do it with my friends on FaceTime. When I share my screen, we play with the app. It's really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. And that's cool to use FaceTime too.
Yeah.
Go ahead and share that out.
We play music together.
I love it. That's really cool. Well, thank you all very much for sharing. And I thought maybe to just kind of kick things off, we might go ahead and play a real simple game. How does that sound? Sound good? Okay. I'm going to put something up on the screen here. And I'm going to put some words on the screen. I'm just curious if you recognize any of them, and if you do, just go ahead and shout them out to the audience. Anyone?
Hola.
Hola.
Hola. And in Spanish.
It's Spanish, that's right. What else? Yeah.
Hello.
What's that? Ni hao, which is Chinese. Annyeonghaseyo, which is Korean. Phenomenal. I know bonjour. My grandfather spoke French fluently, so I heard this a lot in the house when I was growing up. Merhaba, which is how you say hello in Arabic. There's actually the word hello written over and over and over again on the screen. These are all different languages, but they all say the same thing. Code is kind of like human languages. There's lots of different versions of code that are out there, different types of code for different things, like websites or apps. And one of those coding languages is a language that Apple's created. And this is called Swift. So here's an example of Swift over here on the left. And the code is showing us exactly what we see over here. A picture of our robot. And what does our robot do? It's sleeping. That's probably not something we want our robot to do during one of these sessions. We probably want our robot to be awake. And so we're going to add into this code something called a modifier. And that particular modifier is going to go ahead and tell our robot to wake up. And we could add other modifiers in here as well. Maybe we want our robot to be a little more sassy. Go ahead and throw a wink in there. Maybe we want to give our robot an interesting background. So let's go ahead and throw in a background image, pink. This is kind of an example of the way that we're going to use code today. We're going to open up what's called a playground in the Swift Playgrounds app. We're going to go ahead and modify and adjust and change some code that's there for us, practicing a lot with modifiers. Now let me give you an example of what we're going to work on today. Because my team and I, we went ahead and kind of made one of these already. This is Bubbles, the octopus, which I think is an appropriate name for an octopus.
Bubbles.
And you're going to see that this is going to function just like any other app. So I've got some different tabs down here at the bottom of the screen. If we want to learn some of Bubbles' favorites, we can tap on the star on favorites. See that Bubbles enjoys swimming, playing the piano, which he does quite well with all those different tentacles, and hanging out with his other cephalopod friends. Now, he also enjoys a variety of different fish foods, including sushi, a nice little bento box, and he likes compartments. And could you guess kind of what Bubbles' favorite color might be? There's a hint to it, yeah.
Pink.
Pink? Close. We do have a purple in there. Bubbles is also quite partial to blue.
Oh.
Which is interesting because octopus are actually colorblind, but hey, that's okay. And I've got some fun facts to share with you about Bubbles, such as Bubbles has two hearts. There's one heart that pumps blood to the gills and the other one to the rest of the body. Who knew? And doesn't like arm day at the gym. Can't blame him. It'll really work out quite a lot. There's one more. There we go. Once met Jason Momoa at a party. So you're going to have the opportunity today to do some coding, to write your own app, and kind of customize it, create your own character. So I want you to start thinking about what that character might be right now. Maybe it is something like a bear who enjoys sushi, or maybe it's an alien from another planet. You can use your imagination and these iPads right here to go ahead and create a character. I'm going to hand these out along with my buddy Matt. Three of these, two.
Free iPads, you know, I'm kidding.
Well, just temporarily.
They know.
And if you like to use one of the cubes as a desk in front of you, you're welcome to do so. Otherwise, you can go ahead and balance the iPad on your lap there. But go ahead and open it up. And you should already see on the iPad the Notes app open. Now, I know that was one app that we heard was quite popular, at least among our member of our audience here. Big fan of the Notes app. What I'd like you to do is click in the middle section right here. You see where my cursor is moving? I want you to click on that, and then on your keyboard in the bottom left-hand corner is a picture of a globe. I want you to tap on that to bring up the emoji keyboard. Bottom left-hand corner, little globe. Down here. Click on that. All right, now inside your emoji keyboard, all the way over to the far left here, if you use two fingers, you can actually kind of scroll on the trackpad on the screen. You're going to come over to where you're going to see emojis, and I want you to tap on the three little dots that are in there and kind of bring up the full emoji keyboard. There's all sorts of different animals and creatures and characters in here, and I want you to spend the next couple of minutes kind of coming up with your idea for your character. You've got all sorts of different expressions to choose from. So I think I'm probably going to go with an alien. That might be kind of fun. I'm sure aliens are going to have all sorts of fun things that they like to do or eat. I'll probably go with a happy alien because nobody wants an angry alien. That doesn't sound like a good idea. Excellent. That is. A wild boar, very good. You have cats? So do I. I got two of them. So take a couple of minutes, and while you are choosing your character, kind of think about some of the things that your character might like, right? Because we're going to customize some of those tabs within our app today for different hobbies, different foods. Maybe also think about some different fun facts. Once we all get there, we'll kind of move on to the next step together. But just so I get a little temperature check, you can see a thumbs up if you have already chosen your emoji. Awesome. You need the rest of you a couple of minutes to go ahead and finalize this. Honestly, this is probably the hardest part of the class today, trying to decide what your character is going to be all about. All right. So what I would like you all to do next for me is I want you to come up to where your character is up here in the Notes app, and I want you to click on it with your trackpad. It should take up the whole screen like this. And now we're actually ready to save this into our photos so we can use it as what we call an asset a little bit later. So what I want you to do is where it says image in the top left-hand corner here, go ahead and click on that, and then choose the option to save to photos. I want to make sure we specifically do photos, not files, because we're going to bring it in as a photo a little bit later. So click save to photos. Awesome. So with that done, we're actually ready now to open up Swift Playgrounds and start doing some coding. But I'm curious if anyone wanted to share which character they chose or which emoji I chose. You can see mine. Mine's an alien.
I chose a cat with hearts.
Cat with hearts. Excellent. I think we have another cat with hearts out there somewhere. Anyone else? What did you pick, sir? I know you're trying to decide which one to go with.
Yeah, I went with the koala who's being censored.
Ah, okay. Upset koala. That does happen. They're actually quite aggressive. So what I'm going to have you all do next is we're going to leave the Notes app, and you can do that one of two different ways. You can either swipe up from the bottom of your screen, or you can use 3 fingers on your trackpad and swipe up. Either way, it's going to take you back here to your home screen. And I'd like you to go ahead and find the Swift Playgrounds app. It's got a white background with a colorful bird on it. And go ahead and open up Swift Playgrounds. Now, we saw that earlier I was looking at one of those. You should see a screen that looks more like this, but blank without any playgrounds in there. Let's go ahead and add the one that we're going to work with today. And we're going to find that down here in the bottom right-hand corner where it says See All. Go ahead and tap on that. And the playground that we're going to experiment with today is called About Me. I want you to tap on the word Get. That is Apple's word for free.
Wait, what's that?
I'm just going to come around and make sure we're all on the same page. Close right there. Okay. Excellent. Make sure we're all fantastic. And the first thing I want you to do actually is I want you to name this your name. Because you're going to hopefully want to share this with me later, and I want to make sure I know who I'm sharing. And the way we do that is by taking our little cursor over here and double-clicking on where it says the words About Me. That should give us the option to rename it. Just go ahead and give it your name. You might need to delete what's written there, that's okay. When you're done, go ahead and click on Done. All right. Let's do this next. Let's go ahead and open up our About Me playground. And before we kind of jump into all the customizing, let's have a look at the screen here. Just kind of see if there's anything over here on the left where we have some of our Swift code written that we see also here in the live version of our app over on the right. Anyone see any words in particular over here on the left that show up over here on the right? Go ahead and shout them out. If you see one, let me know which one it is. What do you see over here on the left? How about if we have a look here where it says home? Home is kind of written inside parentheses here. And it's red. This is an example of code called string. And what's inside it here, inside of these quotation marks, will show up exactly as it looks over here. Here's the word home. Here it is right down here. It's the name of one of our tabs. You see another tab that has a similar name.
Story.
Story. Absolutely. And what do you think would happen then if I changed the word story to something else? Let's find out. I think that's a pretty good hypothesis. Let's go ahead and try it out. I'm going to bring my cursor down here to story and invite you to do the same. I'm going to kind of click on it twice to highlight it. I'm going to change it to something different. Now, you can change it to kind of whatever you want. It could be poem, it could be book, so it matches the icon exactly down there. I think because I'm making an alien, I'm probably going to have this be my alien's planet guy. And while we won't actually be editing this particular tab here, you can always take this home with you and continue working on it at home. But it's really important that the text that we're writing in stays inside these quotation marks. And I'd like to show you what would happen if it didn't. So you don't have to do this on yours. You can just watch here on the screen. Well, I'm actually going to take away one of those quotation marks. Now we have a little warning that's going on. So So there is a problem with our code. It's kind of pointing out that it's here on this line of our code, and we need to fix it. And we all know what that is, we just need to add back in that quotation mark. So that's not so tough. As soon as we do that, it'll go away, and then we'll have a little check mark up here near the top right-hand corner telling us that all our code is working fine. Mistakes like this are going to happen. It's a normal part of writing code. And the process of finding those mistakes is called debugging. So if you see something like that pop up today, raise your hand if you can't figure it out on your own. We'll come over and help you out. But what you might just need to do is hit undo. Does anyone know how to do undo using a keyboard? Anyone know which key you hold down and press another one?
I know.
What is it?
You have to press the backspace to delete.
Well, you could delete something to fix a problem. Or we can hold down Command, which is right next to the space bar on either side there, followed by the letter Z. In fact, if you hold that button down for a long time, it'll tell you all the things that you can do with it. But I'm going to go ahead and just do Command Z. And if I do that enough times, it actually brings me right back to where I started before. So if you make a mistake today, don't worry about it. It's easy to fix. All right. I think it's time for us to get into some more serious code. Now that we kind of see how things work on this side and are affected over here. And so let's start editing that home tab. So that's the part that's actually going to have our name on it, or at least the name of our character, and the picture of our character. So we're going to need to add that picture that we had earlier. We need to add it into what are called the assets. And I want everyone to do that by coming up to the top right-hand corner, or excuse me, your left-hand corner, and tapping on the little sidebar.
Tap on the sidebar.
This now opens up and shows us all the different parts of our app, each one for us to experiment with and make changes with. And then down underneath that, you'll find all of our assets. These are any kind of pictures that we might want to add in to our app. And up at the top of this new area that's opened up, does everyone see the little file icon with the plus button on it? Yeah? Let's go ahead and click on it. Everyone go ahead and do that with me. And click on Photo. And this is going to give us the option to add in our emoji. Just remember that you can download it online.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
Evil things smiling.
Now, once you've done that, you'll have the opportunity to name it. But I want you to give it a name, something simple, probably just one word. It doesn't have to be complex. I'm probably going to name it after my alien, which I think I'll name Zorba. That sounds like an excellent alien name. Yeah.
Photo isn't showing up in the Unix file.
No problem. We can always use the old technique of leaving the playground and coming back into it. That's sometimes Don't worry, all your work is still there. This is the first rule of IT that you try turning it on and off again. And there we go, look at that. Works every time. All right, if you've got your character added here and you've renamed it, can I see a thumbs up just so I know we're all on the same page there? Excellent. I'll give everyone else just a quick moment to get caught into us here. Perfect. So now you're going to see at the top of the screen, we have some different tabs. These make it easy for us to kind of move around within our app and continue to make changes in it. So we can come back here to the content view, or we can go back to the asset that we were looking at recently. If we don't need any of those tabs open at the moment, we can always hit the little X next to them to close them. But to take us through this first tab, I actually want to use what's called a guide. And this is something that you could just do on your own if you didn't come to today's session, but you downloaded one of these playgrounds. The guide can walk you through it from start to finish. and we're going to use it to help us out today. So up in the top right-hand corner, there's 4 different icons there. The one that looks like a little stack of books, kind of all put together, we're going to tap on that to open up our guides. And then we're going to want to scroll down a little bit inside this list. Because we're going to first edit the Home tab, and we can do that by tapping here on Customize the Home tab. And your screen should look a lot like mine. We should have our live view of our app over on the right-hand side, our code here on the left, and now something new. This is our walkthrough. That's up here at the top left. And we could just follow the walkthrough. It would tell us exactly all the steps that we needed to do to make some changes here. This particular one wants us to do kind of what we've already done, which is bring in some of those photo assets and now add them in here. And if we look here in what's called a V stack, which shows us kind of all of this information vertically here, you're going to see the word placeholder. That's this asset right there, kind of a blank person. I want you to replace placeholder with the name that you gave the asset you imported. So I'm going to go ahead and type in Zorblob. And if you typed yours in and it didn't work, make sure that the spelling is exactly how you had it before. So if you added a capital letter in there somewhere, make sure you add that same capital letter. And you should see the placeholder image get replaced with your character. Oh, perfect. What else do you think we're going to want to change on this screen? Besides that placeholder image, is there anything else we're going to want to edit? Yeah, go ahead. The name, absolutely. Your character's name is probably not your name. If it is, that would be a striking coincidence. And so what I'd like you to do is actually come over here into your code, scroll down a little bit until you find your name written inside that string code in those parentheses. And go ahead and give your character a name. If you haven't thought of one, now is the time to do so. Make sure it's inside those parentheses. Or else you might need to do a little debugging. Now, I think it would also be really neat if we added in something like a background. Now, if we were, like I said, to walk through all the steps in the walkthrough, and we got all the way to step number 9, it would actually give us all the code that we need to do that. But let's do that together. Let's actually keep hitting the next button here on our walkthrough. I'll kind of circle it so you can all see what I'm referring to. And kind of keep tapping on that until we get to step number 9. And you may have noticed that as I'm doing that, parts of our code are also being highlighted on the screen. That's where it actually wants us to take the code that it's giving us and paste it into place. That way we don't have to spend a whole lot of time typing it all in. We can actually just instead see what it does and learn from it. Now, to make it easier, they also included a copy button. Great idea. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on copy. And can anyone see where we're supposed to add that in? I know it's a little bit difficult to see it on my screen here because of the contrast, but can you see it? Yep, perfect. Line 22, excellent. Okay, so go ahead and paste it in. If you know the keyboard shortcut for that, you can use that, which is Command V as in Victor. Otherwise, you can also do a 2-finger click on that line and choose the word paste. But your screen should look like mine. Now, what we pasted in is colorful, but it's not technically a color. Does anyone know what it is?
No.
Based on the code.
Blue? I know it's blue.
It is blue, but it's also an image. is actually another asset that we added in. So if you want to do, you can switch that out. You can make it something different. If you go back to the assets, if you remember where those are, they're up here in the top left-hand corner in our sidebar. Go ahead and change the name from blue to any of the other assets, and you can click on and look at them and see which ones you want. Zorblob is an alien, so I definitely think we're going to go with green. Green is a very alien color. I'm going to go back to my live view here so I can watch it happen. I'm going to type that in, making sure I spell everything exactly as the asset is written. And if you remember my example that I gave you earlier, there are a bunch of other things that were on the screen there too. Adding in a circle, or changing the style of the font. And these are all things that I want to give you a couple of minutes to experiment with. Using the walkthrough, the guide up at the very top of the screen, feel free to go back to any of the other steps that we already skipped and add the code wherever it's highlighting it in blue. And again, I know it's hard to see on my screen right now because of the contrast, but you should see it perfectly on your iPad. Make sure you read all the instructions in here, because sometimes it is really specific. It wants you to add it a certain way or a certain order. And if you have any trouble, raise your hand. Myself and Matt will come around, help you out. Give you all about 2.5 minutes to add a few other customizations. Yeah. Gotta ask, is that the name of your cat? It is very good, excellent. So feel free to use that walkthrough at the top there. See what else you might want to add in. I think I might add something a little different here. Maybe I want to change the font. I think that's actually a pretty good idea because the font's a little small, and I feel like Zorblob as an alien deserves something a little more. So.
Look at mine.
Oh, perfect.
Not just my cat.
No, I love it. That's great. Do you have an orange cat?
Yep.
So do I. I have an orange tabby named Bonsai. All right, this one actually wants me to replace all of the text that's here in this line. So I'm actually going to delete the text that's in there. Just going to click on that. Oops. Look at that. I made a mistake. Thankfully, I have an undo button for me. Just going to delete that code. And the other code. Perfect. Yeah, Zorblob got a little bigger there. There's some other code in here that I could probably modify, change. Change the actual font, or maybe even the size of the font. Well, now it's set the size 40. I think I might change that. Make that a little bigger. Ooh, I like that.
What's your name? I can't really see.
Zorblob.
Oh.
Zorblob the alien. Excellent, very good. Ooh, I like that. Looks like somebody's kind of adding in some different styles for their name. You might see your name twice on the screen there, so don't forget to delete that other piece of code that has your character's name written elsewhere. Unless you want it written twice, that's fine. It's going to take about another 30 seconds to finish up any kind of final touches here on this screen. And again, knowing that you can always take this back home with you and continue to work on it when you get home. But I do want to introduce us to a few other of the tabs and give us a chance to play around and experiment with those. I am curious though, what else did you, what did you all name your characters?
I named mine
Kitty. How about over here? What do we name our character?
Koala number 1. He has a series of characters, and one of them is a koala. He has two koalas.
Ooh, I like that. That's good. Excellent. I like the whole series of them. That's fantastic. You have Candy.
I also have two.
So is that candy number one?
Yes, it's one or
This
two.
is number one.
Number one, the original.
Yeah, just
I love it. Great. All right. Well, let's go ahead then and move on to our next tab. Now, this one, we're actually not going to use one of the walkthroughs to go through. I'm going to take you through everything you need to see for this one. And to get to it quickly, let's actually go all the way up to the top left-hand corner to our sidebar button. This is the same one we tapped on earlier when we went to go find our assets, all the way to the top right. And let's take some time to adjust and change the favorites tab. So we're going to see favorites view in that list there. Why don't you go ahead and click on that. Now, when you do that, your live view is automatically kind of put away, just so you have some more room on the screen to see the sidebar. So I want you to bring that live view back by coming up to the square in the top right-hand corner, the one with the little lines just above it. So go ahead and tap on that to make sure you can see the changes in your code in real time. So with this tab, we've got some hobbies, we've got some foods, and they're represented as what? Anyone recognize these? What are these? Emojis, yeah, exactly. And so emojis, which are treated like text, can also be changed when they're string. And so if you scroll down a little ways, you should find the same emojis here in your code. And I want you to take a few minutes to customize these. Go ahead and change out the emoji with one that matches your character's favorite hobbies and food. So cycling is definitely out for Zorblob. He's got tiny, skinny little legs. It's just not going to happen. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to open up that emoji keyboard. Does everyone remember how to do that? Did that earlier? That button in the bottom left-hand corner with the globe on it. And you can even search through the emoji keyboard, which is really helpful if you're trying to find something specific. So obviously, Zorblob is going to be totally into space-related activities. So hobbies, definitely flying Zorbob's spaceship. Surfing is probably out too, so.
What else? Surfing.
Ooh, astronomy. Science.
He likes
And maybe just hanging out with his astronaut buddies. Yeah, seems like something fun to do. And then don't forget, you've also got your foods that are a little further down in the code, so go ahead and scroll down to find those. Anyone who needs any assistance, don't forget, just raise your hand. Be over to you real quick.
I like technology on the phone. I like to put like I like to
Now, once you've finished updating the emojis here, I want you to start looking through the code and see if you can maybe find an area where we could change the My Favorite Colors section. Where it says Guess My Favorite Colors. You'll notice that it's actually a button. And if I press on it on the screen, it kind of reveals. You might have seen that earlier. I want you to look through the code once you get a chance and see if you can find where that code might be. Yeah, where is it?
It's on 1,065.
It starts at kind of line 69 on here. And let's do this actually. Let's scroll up a little bit. It's a little earlier. You see where it says disclosure group? That's kind of what this code is on the side. And we disclose it by tapping on it, and it reveals what's inside the disclosure group. So if you haven't gotten this far yet, that's okay. We're going to give you several minutes to finish up this section here. But I do want to just kind of take a few moments and point this part out. Because we should be able to also see some of the different colors listed here too. We have color purple and color orange. And those are system colors. These are colors that Swift already knows what they are. So we just need to change the name to any other color we want it to do. So I'm probably going to change the one that says purple, color purple. And I'm pretty sure Zorbob likes the color gray. As I'm typing it in, it might actually kind of suggest some of the code that it wants me to put in, which is great because it just makes it all that much easier. And then you can actually just tap on the little blue return key or tap the return key on your keyboard. Either way is going to replace it with the code that your system already knows. And so go ahead and update and change those colors that are in here. But don't forget about this kind of unique one here. It shows up on my screen as the color pink. And pink is actually made up of all sorts of different aspects of color. Things like your hue, saturation, or brightness. You can try changing the numbers that are in there and see what happens. I'll give you a hint though. Your number should always have a 0 and a point in front of it. So for example, pink right now is 0.9. I'm going to change that in my hue. Let's do 0.4. There we go. 0.4 gives me a shade of green, which again, Zorbob probably really enjoys as an alien. And then I can change the brightness here, making that number smaller to make my color darker. Or I can change my saturation to make it even more intense. Or if you don't like that, you can just delete that whole line of code and replace it with any of the system colors that are in there.
Color green here, green here. Do you want to, which one of these colors would you want? Oh, I see. So let's do this. Put your cursor right there where the 9 is. I should delete that 9 and let's do it different. Okay, let's try it different.
Oh, do you want to change?
On my iPad when I get home.
Oh, you want to change the green. Oh, I misunderstood. Okay. So you could do that. You could delete this code and replace it with this string of code here. And then you can go ahead and program it to be just like that. Otherwise, you can kind of...
Or you could just do that. Now hit one more. Now hit that. Now arrow down to pick the color.
But you want to like really customize that green. You want it to be like a super specific color of green. I get you. So you can't do that. It's a little extra work, maybe a little more than you might have.
The Pro or the Air?
But do you think that Pandy probably has some different favorite colors? Besides your
Look at mine's blue, red,
because you could always use
white.
this code here to go ahead and program.
What's fun?
your
What are your
exact
colors?
green that you want. And swap off any of the other colors. I think green, the closest one is 4, 0.4. And you can try changing the saturation, brightness, and black.
My dad said purple looks
Make that a bigger
good.
number.
Purple or black? That's why I'm always wearing black.
All right, we are going to wrap up here in about another 30 seconds or so. And I'm curious if anyone would like to share one of their favorites, be it a favorite hobby, food, or color for their character. Yes.
I picked the phone because I like technology, and I also picked the cookie because I like cooking.
Excellent. So we got cooking and a phone in there. Fantastic. Zorbob is a huge fan of rocks. It's one of his favorite foods.
Mine's a bit.
basalt specifically, but you know, we eat granite if it's there, if it's available.
I
Yeah.
put his favorite as hot dogs.
Pandy's favorite is especially cookies. Eating them, looking at them, smelling at them, anything.
Eating, looking, smelling, anything that involves cookies, Pandy is down for. I love it. Pandy and I actually have very similar tastes, I think.
Me three.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of consensus from that.
Mine
All right,
likes
excellent.
hot dogs, pizza, and tacos.
Hot dog, pizza, and taco. Oh my goodness, that kitty cat. It's eating a lot. Okay, we've got another tab for us to change. And that one we're going to do using the guides again. So I'm going to direct you one more time, back up to where the guides are. If you remember, that's in the right-hand corner, a little stack of books. And this time we're going to change the fun facts that are in here to match our character. So scroll down in here until you see Fun Facts tab and the option to make it yours. And there are 3 fun facts that you have here. Those 3 fun facts are inside these quotation marks. And each one is separated by a comma. And it's really important that we kind of keep the structure the same in order for our fun facts to appear over here whenever we tap on the button. So make sure that as you're updating these and changing these for your character, you're staying inside the quotation marks. Try not to delete any of those commas. So go through and update some fun facts for your character. We're going to have some time to do this one too, so if you finish early, I invite you to use the guide. There are 2 other tasks that you can do on this page that change both the background and the button. And see if you can kind of challenge yourself a little bit. Customize this page once you've got those fun facts down. Once again, if you need any help, raise your hand.
Title, I'm gonna add more than 3. Well, tell me something else about college.
There, a good mindset.
Definitely. Me too. On the
Like Taco Tuesday?
I think everybody, most people would.
Do you like Taco Tuesday?
Love tacos.
Who doesn't love Taco Tuesday? Only I can have taco any day. So taco Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Taco Wednesday.
And once you got those fun facts, don't forget, come on in here and do some other neat stuff. So tip number 2 allows you to go ahead and put in an image. Now this one, it does challenge you a little bit. It won't let you copy and just paste the text. You're gonna have to find where it needs to go and type that in manually with all the correct punctuation marks as well. So that means our exclamation or our quotation marks here need to be in there as well. I do like that when you're typing them, it actually puts both in even if you just type it once. So if I type it just as it is here on the screen, image, and I put in all the punctuation marks I need, just tapping it once goes ahead and puts that in there for me. I have about another 4 minutes to go ahead and just customize this tab. Feel free to try it out too. Click on the button to see what happens.
Let's see.
Yeah. Maybe that.
I think I see. You see the extension code? I'll give you a hint. It's curious. That one actually. That one should be okay. Wasn't expecting that. I was expecting just to have the copy. Go ahead and tap on that. Do that. A couple seconds. Yep. Sometimes they have Did it happen after you wrote in the content?
First.
Got the new time. Oh, okay. Okay. If only I had a programmer right nearby who could make sure I'm doing it right.
I'd take about another 2 minutes to finish up. And then anyone who would like to share, I'm going to show you how you can share this also with yourself. Take a copy home. Continue to work on it if you have an iPad or a Mac. Otherwise, I'd love for you to share it with me so I can put it up on the big screen for you.
I'm gonna share it now.
I just want to show a page.